who's the GOAT, Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali or LeBron or Michael Jordan, and they're amateurs in their own lives. Come on, who's the GOAT? Couldn't afford tickets to these sporting events of these icons they're talking about. There's a time that our consciousness needs to be raised from being a culture of entertainment to a culture of empowerment, of enlightenment, of understanding that things aren't going to change unless we change. Nothing's going to work unless we work. Something that Mary McLeod Bethune said that I adhered to. She said, pray as if everything depends upon God, and work as if everything depends upon you. In order for this to change, we got to do exactly what we're doing right now. We got to be willing to put in the work. When will it change? We don't know. When will a baby walk? It will walk when it walks. When will it talk? It will talk when it talks, and some talk sooner than others. But what we must do is stay the course, be persistent, be willing to persevere. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. I'm gonna just wait for that one to sink in. Thank you very much. Any other questions, please?
At this point, that, you know what, you did let it sink in. Thank you for letting it sink in. A lot of people were digesting what you were saying, so hundreds of comments are coming in. Keep your comments flooding. I will let you know that Les Brown does take personal time to go back and review your comments. So make sure that you just encourage him and flood those comments in. And Les, I know that you have some things happening throughout this evening, and you are an extremely busy man because I know your schedule. I'm one of the directors of operations. I'm the director of operations here, so I know what he has going on so much, right? But let me tell you, you may also have a question that you want to ask someone here as well, or anybody on the panel. So let me give you the chance to ask your own question of the panel.
Yeah. I'd like to know, what do you see as the primary objective of the Floyd Memorial Center?
I'd love to jump in right now. So glad that you're here, sir. Enjoyed your inspirational word. Powerful. Powerful. Absolutely. It's almost as if you've already been in our camp. Oh. Because the words that you speak are so eloquent. It tells the story of what we will accomplish. We are going to be the change that we seek. That's our goal. But what we are doing is so much bigger than all of us. We feel wholeheartedly, we know from the depths of our soul that this is godly ordained. We're just going to be the vessels through his words to get the message out. That's the goal of the George Floyd Memorial Center. We want to be a bridge to make that difference. It's not about Roger Floyd. It's not about Thomas Mclaren. It's not about the Floyd family per se, but we want to be a conduit to make that difference. How do we impact the lives of others? Because we know if we're successful in doing that, God is going to abundantly bless us as a family because we are doing his will to make that difference. How do you pursue a mission where you help the underserved? You touch base with those individuals that have the resources to do so. We strive to collaborate, partner with those individuals of like minds and hearts, because we realize in our vetting process how when we come in contact with individuals, like the ladies in particular on this call, how they have reached out to us and say, we want to be a part of what you're doing. we want to help promote this cause because it is truly bigger than all of us. And that's what we endowed to do. Not just the week in enlightenment, not just the month of May, when George lost his life, May 25th, 2020. It was a devastating time for me personally and our family. And we saw exactly how this rogue police officer, right before our eyes, took his life. And as a family, we came together and we said, we have got to do something. We have got to make a difference. We got to uphold George's legacy. How do we do that? We do it one day at a time. We have our next steps. We're going to have this all year long, each year, year in, year out, because we're going to keep his name alive. If George was here today, he would say, I would rather be here than where I am. As my grandniece said so eloquently, my daddy changed the world, but yet he would rather be here with us. And
Wow.
since he's not, we have to step in to make that difference. When we collaborate with others to come together of like minds, we want to know what is in the core of your being. This is a heart mission every day. And we are absolutely unequivocally passionate about what we're doing. And we're going to move forward because we know some will, some won't. And I don't say this negatively, but so what? We're going to get with the individuals of like mind, of like spirit, that want to move the needle forward to make that difference. As you are, Brother Les, 77, I'm on your heels. I'm 70 years old, and this is my goal. We both are in the fourth quarter right now, but that doesn't stop us from doing what we need to do because the passion is there. And we're going to continue to collaborate, partner with those individuals of the same mindset to make that difference. That's the goal. That's what the George Floyd Memorial Center is all about. That's what we're all about.
Wow.
Roger,
Okay.
I wanted to piggyback on what Roger just said, which is so very important. And that this is hard work and heart work. It's HARD and HEART. Okay. And so part of what this moment, it's a God moment. All things work together for good, for those who love God, for those who call it according to his purpose. Didn't say all things will be good. Didn't say every day will be a good day, but there's some good in every day. 3,000 people perish on the Titanic, so millions of people would live. When you think about right now, where the Floyd Memorial Center is, if I ask all of you, and I bet you couldn't tell me, who's the president of NAACP? You don't know, the majority of you, but you knew when Benjamin Hook was there. Who's the president of the Urban League? You don't know, just a few of you, but you knew when Vernon Jordan was there. There's a vacuum. And so what the Floyd Memorial Center will be doing is developing leaders that can communicate a message and speak to the world and create transformative experiences like this to begin to tap the minds and the hearts of people to make decisions about what kind of world we want to live in. And we make decisions, and our decisions make us. So this decision to start the Floyd Memorial Center has said his leaving here, his death will not be in vain. This decision, this will be the catalyst to create something enormous that will go beyond us. As Leo Tolstoy said, he says, as I face inevitable death, what is the meaning and purpose of my life that will not be undone or destroyed when I'm gone? This movement, created by the Floyd Memorial Center, will not be undone or destroyed even after we are gone. And I got to for this special broadcast today. I hope y'all know this.
Well, your haircut looks marvelous, Les. But I will tell you your age, and I'm only allowed to say this because you're like a spiritual father to me too. So it's the George Floyd Memorial Center. Because if I don't tell you that, you're gonna be like, "Nah, no, you didn't let me go through that good broadcast."
Yes, I do apologize. When you get 77, you miss a few things up in here.
I know you're gonna fuss at me if I didn't say that, so I might as well go on and say it now.
Look at Kim. I was talking to my son the other day, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for my phone." He said, "You're on your phone." I said, "I knew it. I wish you were here. I'll sucker punch you right now."
I love it.
Turned 77, Roger. Oh my God, looking for a phone that I was on.
But before we let Mr. Brown go to his next event, I want to make sure, did anyone on the panel have a question or comment? Or I know in the studio audience you've had a lot of comments, and I've been putting them up throughout the whole time. But I want to make sure that I give you all an opportunity as well to say anything on the panel. And let me unmute you, Dr. Eric Kelly.
Yes, and while you're unmuting him, I want to jump in here quickly. Folks, I know you love Mr. Les Brown. Put some LBs in the comment block. Put some LBs in the comment block below while we get ready to hear from Dr. Eric Kelly III.
Well, I had a couple of questions before I came, and thank you, Dr. Lotus Riche, for asking me to come. I run a network, and the question is always communication, guys. The Black Business Olympic that happens each and every month, I'd like to see what we could do about communicating your message across our airways. We do about 10 million people a month. And so I'd like to see what we could do about showcasing your organization in July. We do July the 16th through the 21st, and we would love to showcase what you're doing. And of course, Les, I want to throw this in for y'all that don't know that I do know Les. Back in the days when he had rubber bands and cassettes back in Durham, North Carolina. Of course, he knows Wayne Thorpe. I'm pretty sure Wayne used to pick him up in the limo to bring him to all the events. Want to say, man, you're still pushing it, you're still kicking it, and we still celebrate you. You are an icon. For those who don't know, you are an icon, and we need to do more celebration of what you've been doing. And on our network, we would love to also invite you in so that you can share your voice, your 77-year-old voice. I'm 65. Your 77.
I got teachers older than you.
without a doubt. And I remember.
I accept the invitation. I would love to.
And we'll talk about it, Dr. Eric Kelly, because that's something else. That sometimes he doesn't take his medication right, and so he may book some stuff. But we actually have a person that does the booking formally, and I'm not about to get in trouble, so I'm going to answer over to our scheduler.
I'm trying to book him, but I just want to have one question. My question is, where do we do with the communication of getting this message out across the globe? Because most people in North America, the average age is 25. The average age in Europe is 22, 23, and the average age in Africa is 15. How do we get this message, this powerful message across the airwaves? And that's one of the things that we would like to do with you guys. So that's what I wanted to say. And thank you for allowing me.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because most people don't give the kind of thought that you're expressing about how do we communicate the message. A message has no power in and of itself. You have to take in who's going to hear this message. what gave me an advantage to break through in the speaking industry has been governed by the Dale Carnegie course. They teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. I train the speakers that I train, never let what you want to say until you find out what the people need that you're going to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And all that get understanding. So that we can, when we speak, when you have an event, the programming you provide, what you tune into, you turn into. What we do when we speak, we distract, dispute, and inspire. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What the George Floyd Memorial Center will do is create leaders that will be able to interrupt the story that we believe about ourselves, distract, dispute, and through the presentation, create an experience. If information could change people, it would be rich. We have to do it. The George Floyd Memorial Center will do is create experiences across this country that will expand people's minds, touch their hearts because we're emotional people, and ignite their spirit to become actively engaged and making a difference rather than just being a spectator. After the speech of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., there was a speech given by a rabbi that I thought was more important than Dr. King's I Have a Dream. He said, when something happens, there's a perpetrator, there are the victims, and they're the witnesses. And he said, which is most condemning? And he said, the witnesses, just like those 4 cops at any time, they could intervene. They were witnesses to a murder. And he said, Lord, please don't let our country become a country of witnesses. People just sit back and look and say, oh, ain't it awful? The George Floyd Memorial Center is about, no, not lip service, but life service. That we're going to be engaged. We're going to live our lives like Hoffman said. We should be ashamed to die until we have made some major contribution to humankind. The George Floyd Memorial Center will make a major contribution for generations yet unborn.
Mic drop.
Thank you. And I'm going to jump in and just piggyback off of that because that is so profound. One of the key points that when we came together, Thomas and I, to put down the basic thought behind of what it is that we would like to aspire to do, regardless, we are going to be intentional about what we do. What we do will complement transparency.
Mm-hmm.
And above all, no matter what, we will never allow anyone to derail the direction that we are pursuing. Why? Because we're going to do it with utmost integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch, please watch the consistency that we have a goal to pursue. We need your help. We need your engagement. We need your support. But we're going to lead the way.
Mm-hmm.
We were neophytes several months ago, but we're in the big leagues now because of the support that we're fostering each and every day. And you can't do it sitting down.
That's right.
You can't do it once a year. This is a fight
Every day.
every single day.
Every day.
Every waking moment that we have to make that difference. That's the goal. That's the mission. That's our core value in how we pursue these initiatives. We are going to work We're going to light that candle, and we are going to do the work each and every day. That's the goal.
And if you all do make note of it on GeorgeFloydMC.org, you will actually be able to, once you visit that site, and we put the link in the comment section, you'll be able to see the events that's happening coming up on May 27th and May 28th. Dr. Lotus Rashay is going to talk more about those events. But if you visit the website, you'll see all of those events, as well as learn about past events that's been happening with the organization already, the George Floyd Memorial Center. You'll get to meet some of the leaders that's on the team and their board of director members as well. If you click there on board of directors, you'll get to personally learn about each of their board members that are taking time from their schedules to be a part of the George Floyd Memorial Center. So quite a few people are being a part of this organization and really committed. All levels of diversity are included here to be able to be committed to this project.
Exactly. And as you can see, you have many people from various different backgrounds that are here. And this is one of the ways that I came on board with the blackowned.com. And we came to a meeting with Mr. Roger and Mr. Thomas and the Floyd team. And I was asked to come and be a part of it because I am a part of blackowned.com. And lo and behold, I just love the energy that they had. And, you know, I shared this story with them and it had me in tears, because when all of this was going on and people were marching in the street and things like that, I said, God, what can I do to help? Because I'm not going to be out there marching in the street. I used to do that, but I wasn't going to do that. And God said, use your platform. Use what I've given you. And I had no idea of how that would come about. But lo and behold, being a servant leader, and Dr. Kelly talks about this all the time, being a servant leader, God made the way. And God not only made the way for me to connect with them, God also made the way for me to connect with Dr. Kelly. Dr. Kelly and I, we've been doing the Black Business Expo. I jumped on board with him a while back, bringing speakers from all over the world together. And I said to Dr. Kelly, Dr. Kelly, can I please play this video? And it's the video talking about the George Floyd Memorial Center. And of course, he said, why not? But little did I know that we had over 10 million live viewers. And then turn around, we had another 0.1 million on the radio, listening to me speak today for 4 hours. And so, again, I believe it's nothing but God inspiration. Because again, like Mr. Floyd said, we can't do it alone. Like Mr. Les said, we cannot do it alone, and it takes everyone. I'm just a simple voice in the day that's shining light on a message that has to get out. And Dr. Kelly, you talked about communication. How do we communicate this globally? This is how we communicate it globally. We have two other ladies here with us that we haven't even brought up yet. And I'm going to introduce them if we can bring them up, because they have joined forces with us as well. We have Shirley Murphy.
And they're not backstage right now. Okay. That's the only reason I haven't brought them up yet.
No worries. But
I
can talk about them.
I can, if you would like me to. I would love to be able to play that commercial that we have.
Yes.
It's the video collage, if everybody's okay with me playing that for a moment.
Yes. And if I may just tell a little bit about the ladies. Shirley Murphy, she's the CEO of Global Labor Events and Business Magazine Gleam. She's the founder of Women Reach Out with God Initiative Rogi and the founder of She Rise Academy. She's a media consultant and a family life coach, an author, and an international speaker. And she is broadcasting this live on her network in Nigeria, Africa. And then we have Mere Tulakima, also known as the Greatness Engineer. And she is an award-winning entrepreneur. She's a thought leader. She's a renowned engineer and a global engineer and STEM expert. She's a woman of empowerment advocate and a champion. She's a published author and a talk show host based in Australia. And she carries out empowerment work globally as she is the host of a global show, a global network, and an executive producer of the Greatness Engineering Hour. And again, one person that is not here because she had a show already, Miss Pamela Luhing. She is sharing our show worldwide. And so I want to thank these powerful ladies. I want to thank you, Dr. Kelly, for coming on to do what you're doing. And of course, Kim Jacobs, my sister. I want to thank you and Mr. Les Brown, because this is how we get it done. Mr. Roger Floyd, Mr. Thomas Mclaren, and all the people in the Floyd team that are not even here, but they're here over the airwaves. They're here. So I'm excited. We're going to cut to this video. Kim?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start that now. Here we go.
Don't you just look?
May 25th. That was the day that the world really woke up. So this is a reminder to remember that day, 5/25, DOE, which stands for Day of Enlightenment.
Wow. We must all remember that day, Day of Enlightenment. May 25th changed the world forever, and how we all view what transpired on that day. Dr. Lotus Richey, I know we haven't heard from Thomas Mclaren yet, so would you do the honors of introducing him and giving him an opportunity to have words as well?
Mr. Mclaren is an amazing man, and Mr. Roger Floyd has talked about him just a little bit, but I want to share a little bit of my personal experience with this young man. And I did say young because he has the spirit of a young champion championing this amazing event. That's right. So Mr. Thomas is one of the executives within the George Floyd Memorial Center. And he may seem like a man of few words, but when he speaks, he's like E.F. Hutton. Everybody listens. So please welcome Mr. Thomas Mclaren.
All right. You have the floor, Mr. Thomas.
Wow. Dr. Lotus, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. And I kind of hate that Mr. Les Brown actually had to go somewhere, but I wanted to share something with him because you all mentioned that he's 77. You could not tell that brother was 77. And one of the things, I've been listening to him for probably 40 years now. One of the things that he has influenced me, you guys see a little bit of this gray, and I wanted to share with him that I brought my
your mascara,
my gray disintegrator, the mascara. Yeah, I got that from Les
He's
Brown.
gonna laugh when he watches the rest.
Let him know that. Yeah. Let him know that I've got my mascara ready to kind of color in some of this stuff, you know. But thank you so much for that introduction. And as you said, a man of few words. Well, yeah, because today I've been listening, but Roger knows that sometimes I get started and a half hour's gone by and we didn't even realize it. But I just wanted to say thank you all so much for this opportunity, because this has been and is being such a tremendous blessing to us for what we're going to do. And, you know, a lot of people look at my last name and they say, well, your last name is Mclaren. How are you related to the Floyds? Well, Roger Floyd is my uncle. My mother was the oldest of 9 siblings. Her name was Annie Neal Floyd, and she married my father, who is Marion Mclaren. And so, of course, I came along. But I grew up around my Uncle Roger, my Uncle Ike, my Uncle Perry, who is George Perry Floyd Sr. I grew up around them because I'm only 6 years younger than Roger. She said, young man, thank you so much for that. But I was always hanging around them. I was that little nephew that never wanted to leave. I was that little nephew that wanted to go out and play basketball with them on the baseball court. Whatever they were doing, that was me. As a matter of fact, George's dad, George Floyd Sr., taught me how to play the guitar when I was 5 years old. He was 15. I was sitting in his lap. He showed me a few chords. From here on to learn how to play guitar. As a matter of fact, so thank you for that. And you know, we said we've got to do something. Yes, it hurt tremendously.
Where'd that come from? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's happening? I don't know where that's coming from. It's not a can't control.
Yeah, somebody's got
tempo
playing something. Okay.
Okay, I'm like, hey, I'm in control of this broadcast, and I say, stop it right now. I'm not playing that button. I knew I couldn't. I wasn't playing it. Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on, but let's keep going, Thomas. Sorry about that.
No, but this has been so, you know, as Roger said, I think Doc has actually been in some meetings, but I'm pretty sure, just like always, he's well versed, he's well read, and I'm sure you put him in on a few things, but knowing him, he's done his research, and a lot of the things that he actually mentioned as he was on was right in our wheelhouse. Those are the things that we want to do. You mentioned transformation, and the only way transformation is going to take place is somebody has to step forward and act transformation. And that's what we're all about. As a matter of fact, our theme this entire year, we're probably going to keep it for a while, is from perpetual trauma to transformation. Because everybody who saw that video of George, everybody who watched Mike Brown, everybody who heard about Breonna Taylor, who watched the video of Ahmaud, that was trauma. That was trauma. We weren't sitting in the movie theater with a box of popcorn and a Coke watching Arnold Schwarzenegger or Wesley Snipes or some of them, you know, in a shoot 'em up. We actually saw real life, and that was trauma. And when we found out that that was our blood, I mean, that just took us to a deep place. But we met as a family, and we said, we've got to do something. We've got to be transformative, and that transformation has to start with us. And that's where it started. We said we would change we see. And so it had us. We could have been bitter. We could just complaining about, oh, it's me, woe is me, and all that stuff. But we know that there are a lot more who have suffered at the hands of not only the police, but just the society and just world evil. And in order to do something about it, we said we've got to be about it. And that's how the George Floyd Memorial Center came about.
Wow. That is an incredible backstory, and that's something that we benefited from knowing now how you are part of the Floyd family. And one of the questions that we wanted to also ask you all is to tell us overall about this empowerment weekend and how it came about, and who we've talked about some of the, we haven't talked about all of the supporters. We talked about Les Brown in particular. But if any of you all could let everyone else that's watching today know, who are some of the supporters and some of the partners in this initiative?
Okay, well, I'll jump in there on that. First and foremost, the Weekend of Enlightenment came because, as you know, the 20th of May is the anniversary. And last year, we dubbed May 25th as the Day of Enlightenment. And so as we were creating opportunities for people to engage with us, we said, you know, it's got to be more than just a day. And so we wanted to create the Weekend of Enlightenment. And so we have reached out to several entities such as Duke Energy, one of ours, Red Ventures out of Charlotte, North Carolina, a partner with us. And as far as down in Atlanta, Georgia, we have several there who have reached out. One of my former college football teammates actually is the president of Alliance Plastic Company, which is, you know, up and down the East Coast. And he said, yes, I definitely want to do what I can do. We'll help you from our Atlanta office as well as our North Carolina office. And then we partnered with some other entities such as St. Augustine's University. We are working with them to not only help facilitate what we want to do as far as classes and programs. But we're bringing light to that college. And so everything that we can do to help facilitate change, help facilitate the initiative forward of going from perpetual trauma to transformation, that's what we're about.
Wow.
Roger, if you want to jump in.
And we're going to also engage in some fun activities as well, but still sharing the message every opportunity we get. On Friday, the 27th, we're going to have our first annual charity golf event at the local golf club in Cary, North Carolina, which is just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, where the center is actually being, will be built eventually. And right now, that's why we're doing everything virtually, if you will. And that's the way to go. You know, with the mindset about the pandemic, it's still ongoing, and we want to be responsible in that light. But that is an outdoor outing, a big fun day. It's a fundraiser as well. The outreach has been phenomenal. It's just that we would like to get more golfers, if you will, but that will come in time. But the sponsorship has been really engaging. And so that is success within itself. And the golf club is working with us each and every day to accommodate our needs to make it happen. And that's what transformation is all about. People coming together to make that difference. And then, of course, on Saturday, we're going to have an all-day conference. That's, of course, going to be virtual. We're going to have some dynamic speakers there for the morning, the midday, and the afternoon. Panelists. The focus is on health, wealth, and education.
And what I'm going to do, Mr. Roger, is show people some of this stuff so that way they can see what you're talking about. Let me go to the golf event, if that's okay with you, Dr. Lotus.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the charity golf event is going to be, tell them about that again, because I want to make sure everybody gets a visual of what's happening. Wait a minute. I'm going to put it right up here on the screen for you so everybody can see it at the same time. Yeah, there you go. So tell them about that event.
As you can see, that's on the 27th of May. And another sponsor, Chick-fil-A, is going to provide a breakfast for everyone. And it's going to be a shotgun scramble. We're going to get started about 7:30 in the morning. And hopefully the golfers can get underway about 9:30. We hope to finish up around 2, 3 in the afternoon. And we're going to have a nice meal prepared. And we're going to have the awards to give it out at that time. We're going to have a silent auction as a result. So that's going to be a fun outing for everyone that's going to participate.
And then I want to put this, I'm going to put, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share the one I have over here, Dr. Lotus, and that's going to be the tickets for Eventbrite for May 28th. Go ahead and tell them again about the virtual conference.
Absolutely. As you can see, we're going to have some dynamic speakers, and they're outlined on the website. So please, everyone, go to the website, www.joycefloydmc.org, and it's all outlined there. So this is going to be a phenomenal day with the discussion about health, wealth, and education. And
Dr. Lotus, tell them about some of these speakers, too, while we have this up.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the speakers. I'm going to share. We have Rod Carter. He's one of the phenomenal speakers. Camille Kaur, Dr. Roger Lapchick, and Kamari Cook, and Reverend Dr. Michael W. Waters, all phenomenal speakers that are.
And that's Dr. Richard Lapchick.
Yeah, Dr. Richard Lapchick. Pardon me. But all phenomenal speakers that's going to really be dynamic. And Dr. Richard Lapchick, he's an author, an educator, an ESPN columnist, and he's an internationally recognized expert on sports and social events and social issues. And let's go ahead and talk about one of the other speakers, Kamari Cook. Kamari Cook is the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Red Ventures, where she is responsible for leading the development and execution. Why can't I get that
You've
right?
been doing a lot of work. You've been doing a lot of work to get
Execution
this
of
ready.
Red Ventures. Yes, I've been going all day since about 4 this morning, and she's a DEI strategist. The other person, let's talk about Reverend Dr. Michael W. Waters. He's a pastor, he's a professor and an activist, and he's the founder and lead pastor of the Abundant Life African Methodist Episcopal Church in Dallas, Texas. Okay, so there are so many wonderful people. Some I've mentioned, some I haven't had the pleasure of mentioning as of yet, but this is going to be a dynamic event that you really don't want to miss. You want to be a part of it. And then if you would, right down here, Kim.
Oh, you know what? I think when I actually removed the extra screen, it kicked her out of the studio. But don't worry, she'll be right back in, Dr. Lotus Rashay, and she's doing a marvelous job hosting this event. All of the ways that you can actually follow her are in your comment section as well. And so we definitely want to give a major round of applause to Dr. Lotus Rashay. And I know that Dr. Shirley Murphy is the next person that she has on the agenda for us to hear from today. So we're going to play a video that includes you, Dr. Shirley Murphy, as an intro, and then we're going to hear from you right now, right after this break.
My name is Shirley Murphy, CEO, Global Labor Event and Business Magazine, Glean. And I'm so honored to be a partner at the George Floyd Weekend of Enlightenment event. We are coming together with the family of George Floyd who have decided not to become bitter victims, but vessels of change to lead individuals and communities from perpetual trauma to becoming transformational advocates. Now, the Weekend of Enlightenment is going to be empowering, uplifting, and the beginning of a catalyst to lead individuals and impact lives in the communities that we seek to serve. So join us and let's make a difference in our world. Thank you.
And before we hear from Shirley Murphy, since our own host, Dr. Lotus Rashay, is back here in the studio audience, I want to give you the honors, Dr. Lotus Rashay, to introduce our next speaker, Shirley Murphy. Unmute yourself.
Here we go. Thank you so much, Kim. Of course, Miss Shirley Murphy is a global phenomenon. She's a speaker, she's an author, and she's the CEO of Labus TV, as well as Glean Magazine. She is the founder of Women Reach Out with God Initiative, and she is also the founder of an amazing university, if you will, and I'll let her share a little bit about the academy, if you will, but none other than all the way from Nigeria, Africa. Please welcome Mrs. Shirley Murphy. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Oh, muted? Am I muted now?
No, you're fine.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so very much for having me, and thank you once again for this opportunity. My name remains Shirley Murphy, and I'm so honored to be a partner at the George Floyd Weekend of Enlightenment event. Now, I celebrate the family of George Floyd who have decided, to become transformational advocates to impact change. Rather than becoming bitter victims,
Dr. Shirley, before you continue on, because I, again, as a host myself, you'll be disappointed if I don't say this to you. So the green screen is causing a glare or something. So I'm going to remove you for a second and give you a chance to get that fixed or removed, and then bring you back on out of courtesy to you. Is that okay, everyone? All right. Yes. Dr. Lotus, introduce our next speaker, please.
So our next speaker, she's a phenomenal engineer. She is the show host of a phenomenal engineering show, the Greatness Engineering Show. She is an international best-selling author. She is a show host. She is a mother. She is a keynote speaker. But most importantly, she is an agent of change. She is none other than the amazingly remarkable Mrs. Mere Tulakima. Thank you.
Thank you for such an amazing introduction. I don't know if I recognize myself into this introduction. Like she was saying, I'm Mireille Tulekima. I'm based in Perth in Australia, but I've actually, work and travel all over the world. I'm an engineer by background, but being an engineer, to look at engineering more on a global scale, not just on the technical side. So I looked at, how I can engineer greatness and make sure that people understand that, they have a gift and they can use this gift to change things and to actually help them to, take on whatever challenges or obstacles that come, in front of them. And I'm really happy to be part of this event because outside, the US, we were all shocked, to see that, somebody could be murdered, live, and nobody was, able to change the course of the what was happening. And so it was shocking because we have a certain vision of the US, and we couldn't actually reconcile, what the country, show us outside and what was happening. And so it's important that we build on such a dramatic event to make sure that it doesn't happen anymore. And that's really why I wanted to be part of this, so that I can, send the message outside the US, especially here in Australia, where sometimes we don't get all the information, and make sure people understand the magnitude of such, such what happened back then with late, George Floyd. And that's an important thing. It's about the mindset. It's about understanding that we are all in it together. It's not just, the Black community, it's everyone. Everyone needs to be educated. And to be educated, you have to first get the awareness, so that now you can work on your mindset to shift and understand, the extent of your action, and sometimes your inaction in this case, that led to a very dramatic event. So very happy to support the event, very happy to, because that's been what I've been doing for several years. Obviously, I have my main, my main skills, which is engineering, being a technical person, but it's all about change and looking outside the box, outside my own community and outside, what I'm used to, so that I can grow and shift as well and help, people around the world. So happy and really thank you to the family for using this dramatic to actually grow and educate people and change the world, because I think, this death unfortunately changed the world, changed the narrative, and we have to keep pushing, because it is going to be a slow change, for a lot of people, a lot of resistance, because people just don't want to change. So we need to create this shift. We need to force it in different way. And that's what, and I thank Dr. Lotus for putting this together. That's the kind of thing that we need. We can't hear you.
Yes, I said outstanding comments, and I want everyone that's watching today to know that this is a global program that's happening. So, and the time differences is literally wee hours of the morning where Muriel and Shirley are. So for you all to be on here tonight in the wee hours of the morning is just an incredible salute to you all in support of the George Floyd Memorial Center. Dr. Lotus Rashay, do us the pleasures of introducing Shirley Murphy now.
Shirley Murphy is the CEO of Global Labor Events and Business Magazine, Gleam. She's a founder, Woman Reach Out with God initiative Rogie, and she is the founder of Rise Academy, a media consultant, family life coach, author, and international speaker, and #1 international best-selling author. Please welcome the incredible Shirley Murphy.
Okay, Shirley Murphy, take it away.
Thank you so very much, Lourdes, and of course, the amazing, the balanced Dr. Kim Jacobs. Thank you so very much for this opportunity. All right, before I go ahead, I want to say that this initiative is a phenomenal one, a global package that will help change the world from what it used to be, from the negative aspect of the things that we have been seeing, the challenges and all of that, into moving to a better and, of course, a positive world. I'm so honored once again to be a part of this program. The event celebrated by the George Floyd, who have decided not to continue to grieve, but to step out to become positive agents of change. I mean, this event is the beginning of a catalyst to lead individuals and impact lives in the communities and, of course, the world that we all seek to serve. I want to celebrate the family once again for forging a path to encourage personal healing, growth, and that we all have a responsibility to channel a positive energy to further help others rise from a dark side into the light. More than ever, this is the right time, and of course, just like I